Look at me, teacher. Look at me. Look at me. Look. No.
The year was 1978, coming to 1979. We had just moved from, or did we? We were still in Boston. I think we left Needham, and we were now in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And miniseries were starting to take the storm, take TV by storm.
Mm-hmm.
And usually back then you had Western miniseries or like Little House on the Prairie miniseries, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But horror, you didn't really get these serial, these serial, but these movies these TV movies that came out that would last you like 2 nights back to back or whatever they did. And it was kind of Stephen King that started that craze, or the studios who own the Stephen King property.
Yeah, I think it was really so that they could do proper justice to the length of the likes of a Stephen King book, because these are quite big novels, and you couldn't really do it proper justice in an hour and a half film. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's funny to say that because this was supposed to go out in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was, obviously Carrie came out a few years before this, and Carrie was gold, made a lot of money and great reviews, and it's rightfully so. It's a wonderful film. And Sissy Spacek.
It is, yep. I agree.
And
Palma.
Brian De Palma, legend.
Mm-hmm.
But then The Shining just got picked up by Kubrick and his team. So he was pretty much a hot little item. But so was Vampires. And in 1979, John Badham's version of Dracula was coming out with Frank Langella, my personal favorite. We'll eventually get to it. It's a wonderful film.
Yep.
And you had the Nosferatu
The remake, yeah,
coming out at the same year. So the producers decided, we're not going to put this out in the theater. We're going to make this a TV miniseries. And that is why George Romero dropped out of the project.
Mm-hmm.
George Romero was supposed to headline and direct this, but he did not want to do TV. Talk about how the tables have turned these days. Everybody wants to do TV now.
Well, TV has changed dramatically since we were kids. It's basically people have mini cinemas in their own house.
Yep, exactly. So they got Tobe Hooper, which was a nice choice. Mm-hmm. Tobe Hooper's obviously hot from the little classic, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and amongst other stuff. And so he jumped on board, and we got the 1979 Salem's Lot TV miniseries that would begin a trend from all the way from that to now. A lot of Stephen King's adaptations went right to TV, and they became these little miniseries events.
Mm-hmm.
I watched them all. I remember it was an event.
Yeah.
We were all excited to see what the new Stephen King series, including It, which was really big in 1990. I remember Rose Red, my personal favorite, Storm of the Century.
A lot of them we didn't actually get on. See, at the time in the UK, up until 1982, we only had 3 channels to choose from. Then Channel 4 came along in 1982, but ultimately, we still only had basically a handful of channels. So we rarely got to see these on TV, but where we did get to see them was they were released on video as films.
Yeah, because you guys got Salem's Lot over in Europe. Mm-hmm. Salem's Lot was a movie release,
but not in cinema.
There's a 2-hour version that did come out in Europe. I don't know what happened in the UK, but in Europe, you guys did get the 2-hour version that hit theaters, and then we got that version on VHS.
Now, I believe that this Salem's Lot was actually shown on UK TV. However, I remember my mum talking about it. And I was thinking to myself, but it was on really late at night, and I was really young. I mean, I was only born in '76, and I didn't get seeing it until I was maybe around 10 or 11, when I rented it from the video shop, but it was in its full form. It was like a 3-hour film, basically.
Okay, yeah. And on the States, we got TV series was 3 hours, obviously. 4 hours if you count commercials.
Yeah.
And then the video release for years was only a 2-hour edit.
Right.
It wasn't until the mid-90s, I believe, where the full edit came out. So it was weird why they did. Never understood why they did that.
Yeah.
But yeah, here we are. We're going to talk about Salem's Lot. We always talk about revisiting a film. And does it hold up? And is it, is it a piece of crap now? Because, it's just the way it is. Things just don't hold up. I'll just jump right on the bat. I'll just jump right on the, I'll just say right now that I fucking enjoy this movie.
Yeah, so do I.
I mean,
And while it is a little 70s cheesy at times, in several ways, it still works as a horror film. And there are still some very iconic scenes and characters, namely Straker and Barlow.
Yeah. You know what's funny? When I watched this, and one of my favorite Stephen King films, and it actually did the same thing this film did. It was actually supposed to be a two-day miniseries, about 4 hours long, 3 hours with commercials. But they decided to edit it and put it out in the theater. Didn't do well, so they re-edited. They put the 2-day series out on TV.
Yes.
The movie's called Needful Things.
Yes.
One of my favorites. I love Max von Sydow. Bonnie Bedelia is in that one.
Yes. Ed Harris.
Ed Harris.
Yes.
And it's about the devil goes to town. We won't get into that one, but it is about a man who owns this antique shop, and he goes to this antique shop. There were collectibles, and the collectible, someone could relate to it in the town.
Yeah.
This had such of that quality in it.
Yes.
Especially Stryker's character, who has the antique shop.
Yeah.
Stephen King really does have a tendency to rip off his own stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain King tropes. A lot of his main characters are either writers or teachers. Small town Americana in Maine, So yeah, there's definitely certain King tropes, and there's also the small town with all its secrets and affairs and sort of well-rounded, great, believable characters.
Yeah. No, they are, and you mentioned hokey a bit, and I was concerned that it would be too hokey for it to play today. I don't think it is. I think it's got some pretty, obviously some cheese to it. We're going to have that, especially a vampire film in general. But a lot of stuff in the 70s you wouldn't get away with now.
Yes.
Like the Sawyers, George Rosenda, who I like to see. He's a fun actor.
Yeah.
But when he catches his wife cheating,
yes,
he beats her up.
Yes. And also she then pretends that Crockett raped her.
Yeah, so a lot of things pretty edgy.
Although, to be fair, you don't actually see the domestic violence on screen. He closes the door, and then you hear like a sort of smack type thing.
But then you see her with the black eye.
She has a black eye, yeah.
But yes, but I just think for the 70s, pretty risky. But I have to admit, what I forgot about when I was watching this, I think his name is Henry Suckman. He did the score for this. I love the score.
Yeah.
The score is so fun and playful. It's just, it's hypnotic. I just love it. It's simple.
And it sort of harks back to Psycho. There's a certain Psycho. I'm not saying, unlike Reanimator, it's its own score and it doesn't rip off Psycho, but there certainly seems to be a proper homage to the Psycho score and a lot of the older horror film scores as well.
That was a good way to start the program with the score and the picture of the house, and the house is coming into full
the
development.
Marsten House.
Yeah. Now I got a little confused because I watched Chapelwaite not too long ago. It was a miniseries prequel to Salem's Lot.
Yes.
And I don't know why I never caught this. It's not really about vampires. Okay, the house is the evil part. So the house happens to bring evil to it.
Yes.
So David Soul's character, Ben Mears, goes back because he wants to write about this house.
He discusses it.
He talks about how there was a murder in the house, murdered his family.
The original owner and stuff.
Yeah, there was a hanging and stuff like that. And now the vampire is coming to this house. It's not necessarily about
drawn to the house.
It's about the house itself, and that's one of the reasons they burn it down at the end.
Yeah, can I say about Chapelwaite as well? Although I haven't seen it yet, I would like to see it. Apparently, it is based on the short story by Keane called Jerusalem's Lot, which is basically a sort of prequel to the novel Salem's Lot. Now, I haven't read that short story since I was a kid. It's in his collection, Night Shift, but I remember it being blown away by it, and I'm going to have to revisit it.
It's
a brilliant short story.
It's about, Chapelwaite, we know it now as Salem's Lot. I believe that's what happens.
Yes.
And Chapelwaite has this place called Jerusalem's Lot.
Yes.
And Jerusalem's Lot's where the vampires hide.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where that whole kind of prequel starts.
Yeah.
It was okay. Funny thing is,
Adrian Brody or something in it.
Yeah, Adrian Brody's in it. The acting was pretty good. You probably really like it. To be fair to it, Trevor, you probably enjoy it. I thought it got kind of boring and long, but King has the tendency to drab. But if it's based on a short story, that makes sense because short stories should be short.
Yeah,
this was like a 10 episode.
No, it is a literal short story, but they've obviously dragged it out and developed it into whatever it is.
Well, season 2's coming. So,
but if you, I'm talking about the short story and the short story in and of itself. I haven't read it since I was about 12 or 13, but I remember being blown away by it. It's always stuck in my mind. So it's in Keane's Night Shift collection. I'm going to have to revisit it. I think I lent that fucking collection out to someone whenever I was like a teenager or something and never got it back. So I'm going to have to repurchase it.
Let's jump in just quickly here at Salem's Lot. We kind of went all over the place, but that's fine with me because we're talking King, and King's... Fuck, you can talk to King.
Yeah.
You can have a whole podcast on King.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But let's talk about David Soul. We got Ben Mears, Susan Norton, Richard Straker, Mike, who is played by Jeffrey Lewis. I like him.
Yes.
You got the great Fred Willard.
Yep.
You got Mark, Jason Burke, Dr. Norton, and Barlow. So
he had Flanders.
Straker is the bad guys.
Yes.
So Ben's back in this town. There's some things that don't work in this, and there's some things that do. And what does not work, and it's the stupidest love interest ever written.
It feels very forced.
Yeah, Susan and Ben. They're already in a relationship and in love. And how long is he in this? Here's a problem. There is a problem with this. The time. And what I mean by that is they should have given us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or fall, summer, whatever. Give us some kind of time frame when Ben Mears is here and how long he's been here for.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of killing going on, and it seems like there's a lot of time in between after the killing, and then they're already in a relationship and
deeply in love.
Yeah, deeply in love. So they should have given us some kind of timestamp.
I haven't read the novel in years, so I have it sitting there. It is well overdue a reread. So I would have to look at that more to examine the novel and that sort of love interest element with Ben Mears. I to be honest, due to time constraints, I wasn't able to reread the novel in time for this podcast. But it'd certainly be interesting to examine both from a sort of modern viewpoint, if you know what I mean, from me as an adult.
So Straker, he's the one who reminds me of Leland Gaunt. Leland Gaunt was the devil in Needful Things.
Yes, James Mason.
He's James Mason's fucking awesome. I love James Mason.
He's brilliant. So sinister.
Now he plays. Is he like the Renfield?
Yeah, he's basically. This is basically. Keane's more or less admitted that Salem's Lot is basically Dracula in small town America. He's basically the main vampire, Kurt Barlow, the master. He's his human sort of like main servant, protector and stuff. However, he does have certain superhuman powers as well. But
we'll find that.
But for all intents and purposes, he's not a vampire. But
so he's opening up.
Sorry, go ahead.
What I don't understand though is Barlow's coming. Mm-hmm. Okay, is the ship that was it the Detmer?
Yeah,
something like that. And they're waiting for that his crate to come in. Mm-hmm. So he's opening. What's the point of the antique shop though?
That's just a front for them,
Okay.
But also it's a way from a practical point of view. It's a way of them sort of, I suppose, making money or whatever. Because don't forget, fucking Barlow at least has been around for centuries. So they have obviously acquired, and they've travelled the world. They've obviously acquired a lot of antiques. So it makes sense from a practical point of view. But it is also a front for them to appear as like so normal sort of citizens and to blend into the small town better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just think it's kind of rushed because the killings and the disappearance, especially of the kids, happen pretty quickly.
Yeah.
That's why I would like that timestamp.
Yes.
Because for a storefront, and all this disaster was happening, in my eyes, within a week. That's what I'm just guessing. Mm-hmm. It seemed to be pretty big cover, I guess you could say, for something that's going to not last a week.
Yeah. Well, with stuff like a novel, it'll be obviously it'll be much more detailed and these things will be explored much more. But with the film, even a made-for-TV film or a made-for-TV miniseries, there are time constraints where you have to sort of compress all this stuff into small periods of time. Because well, actually, to be fair, they have 3 hours, and usually it's only like an hour and a half, a couple of hours to do these things. So it still worked for me. So it did.
No, I'm not. It's not really a negative thing. The only thing that really bothered me a lot was the whole Ben Mears Susan relationship. I thought was pretty stupid.
Aside from it, like them,
especially what we get for the outcome and the ending, it's just. I got it. Let's move along here. We're kind of going stuck here, and I really actually more want to talk about the ending than anything else because you might have more answers than I would. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I liked a lot of my favorite scenes. I remember as a kid.
Yeah,
I remember them vividly, and I watched it, and I was like, oh yeah, I know. I could tell you when Mike Jeffrey Lewis.
Yes,
he's the gravedigger. He's the groundskeeper, and he's burying one of the kids. Mm-hmm. And the kid's, he gets hypnotized, and he opens up the coffin.
Yep.
And the kid pops up and bites him. Great scene. That was a commercial break. I remember that.
Well, you know when the commercial breaks were because rewatching they freeze.
They freeze.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's just do this. Let's not dive into all these characters. We don't need to. It's Stephen King, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
If you want to know about these characters, go read the book. I do enjoy the characters. I think they're fun. Mm-hmm. I do like characters like Burke and Dr. Norton. Mm-hmm. They're good characters. They're the ones who kind of support Ben.
Yes.
And what's going on here.
Yeah.
It sucks that they get their comeuppance. But the scenes I remember that stick out is oh God, when the boys are scratching at the door.
Brilliant. At the window.
At the window. And obviously his little brother, he's going to let him in.
Yep.
But it's reversed when he's going to Mark's house, his best friend.
Because Mark knows the score.
Yes, because he loves horror. He loves ghouls and monsters, so he knows not to let him in. Uh-huh. But I just remember the scratching.
Let me in, Mark. Open up, Mark. Let me in. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got the glow in the eyes and the fangs, and it works.
It still works to this day. It's very surreal. And I was reading up on it. Apparently, part of it was done in reverse to give it more of a disorientating feel. It really, like an otherworldly feel, and it still works to this day. They are still very creepy scenes. Another scene that always stood out for me is the scene where what do you call him? The groundskeeper, the gravedigger,
Mike.
Whenever he is revealed to Burke, in his full vampiric form.
Yes, that's my favorite scene.
Look at me.
Yes, and I have that cut for our intro.
Right, excellent.
It's my favorite because when he walks in there and he's looking at him with this glow in his eyes,
and he can act. He could act. So yeah, he really sells it. I'm not saying
Yeah.
the kids did a good job too because
they all did. The acting.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about this? I thought the acting would be hokey for for this generation. It's not. It holds up.
You know who the hokiest actors are in it? David Soul and Bonnie.
Yeah,
Thing,
but I don't think that's
Susan.
them. That's just the stupid love story.
Yeah,
We
but
need
generally
John-
they're a bit hokey anyway. Overall, not just the love interest thing. So I suppose Soul's all right.
You have to throw it in. You're going to have a love interest because you're going to have it because she becomes the damsel in distress. They do it in Fright Night. They do it in all. Every Dracula film has a damsel in distress. So this is what we got. Poorly executed, but it's what we got.
Yeah.
They had to make it. I'm sure they're probably. When Ben's invited to, I guess, family dinner after their first date.
No, it's fucking and Ed Flanders, not to be confused with Ned Flanders from The Simpsons.
I like Ed Flanders. That's
Exorcist 3 and stuff he's in. He warns him off about, I hear you're up at the lake, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're up at the lake all the time, and he's like, "Are you up at the lake with my daughter?"
Yeah.
I guess the lake is probably it's a sex romp up there.
Yeah, that's it. That's what they're all like. Yeah, that's where they all go to shag, basically. And he goes, well, what did he say to David Soul? He goes, I think you respect my daughter. I think she respects herself, but, basically, I'm watching you type thing,
Don't you love how the cop pays the drunk guy
to spy on him?
go spy on Ben? Why?
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I think that's sort of I'm going to have to reread the novel because obviously some of these things might be completely different in the novel because they do change things, and I know there are a lot of changes made. But then in other times they will have to be, there will be more detail and more explanation where it goes into things in more depth. But that does appear a bit random because then the drunk basically then disappears from the whole thing.
Yeah, he doesn't get bitten, does he?
I don't think so. Not that I can remember.
He just disappears, right?
Yeah, he pretty much just disappears, and that's the end of his story arc. Yeah.
Talking about him beating his wife and some of the edgier backstories in this. Yeah, there's a nice little scene after when Ralphie gets it before he does his little famous scratching at his brother's door.
Yeah,
we see Straker actually carrying his dead body in a plastic bag.
Yeah, in the body bag,
dumping him in the basement and opening it up, and there's his corpse. Yeah, pretty groundbreaking stuff to be doing in the 70s on TV. That is.
Yeah. We're talking about, brilliant scenes in it. One of my favourite scenes as well in it is, I think it's only the second time we see Kurt Barlow in his full Nosferatu, sort of element. Because in the original novel, he's not actually a Nosferatu type monster. He's more of a sort of charismatic, more human type vampire.
Yeah. I heard the actor. I heard the actor wasn't happy when they found out he couldn't. They're taking out his lines.
Yeah, but I love the scene where he appears in Mark's kitchen and kills his parents and the priests are, and then James Mason appears and he's going, come on, preacher man, come on, shaman, do your worst type thing, and then Mark says, I'm going to kill you, to the master. I think that's just a brilliant scene.
I remember that happened in again remembering it when an 8-year-old and just freaking me out.
It scared the shit out of me as a kid.
And watching it now, I like the fact they did this with Fright Night. Took from this a little bit, where it's about faith.
Yes,
and how when Straker calls out the priest can't do anything because he doesn't have the faith. Burke has more of the faith. You'll find out.
Yeah,
and Dr. Norton and Ben. So that's why he calls out the priests.
Come on, shaman. Yeah. Yeah, your faith against the masters, let's see who wins type thing. Yeah.
We're talking about all these what works and what the scenes we can keep going with the scenes. There's so many good ones. But in general, I want to fast forward to the ending.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, just
And
before we
King-
get to the ending, can I just mention a scene that is both brilliant and hokey at the same time? It's the one in the hospital where Danny Glick's mother becomes a vampire, and she basically, it's brilliant and it is scary up until whenever they kill her, and she just like disappears, and it's really hokey effects. And why would her clothes disappear and all? You know,
Oh yeah, I saw that. I still kind of like that scene though.
it's a brilliant scene up until she fucking disappears.
I liked it because, again, one of my favorite movies is The Fog.
Yeah.
And they kind of do that in The Fog. When the bag starts moving.
Yeah.
The dead bodies in it. You're right. That's the perfect way of putting it. It's a creepy scene, but also corny as hell.
Yeah, just right at that very end. They should, I don't know whether the budget didn't allow it or what, but if they had have, made her sort of, rot away, as Barlow does at the very end, that would have worked better than have her just like vanish in a cloud of dust.
Well, let's talk about that. Stephen King, and he admits this, has a tendency, he goes on he goes to the littlest detail.
Yeah.
Number 2 pencil. They're writing on a letterhead. He'll go into detail on everything that's going on in a scene.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a tendency. His endings kind of suck.
He's sort of infamous for them.
It is a perfect example. Fun, great little miniseries. But then
I don't have a major issue with them in general.
I do. If I haven't read the book, so I can't judge it. But I'm telling you now, about 2 hours and a half to get to our finale. Last 20, 25 minutes. And I still go with it because I enjoyed watching it. It's funny because I actually enjoy watching the characters and each one of them getting their comeuppance and disappearing.
Yeah.
That was more fun than what we get in an ending. You talked about how we see Straker's strength when he takes, which is a nice little death. He takes Dr. Norton and he throws him against the antlers.
Yeah.
And a pretty gory little effect.
I loved how the Marsten House looked on the inside.
Yeah, very goth.
Yeah.
Well, did you see like the debate where they go in the basement?
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's a pretty fucking big basement because I mean, this not. It almost looked like something James Whale would have produced on the Frankenstein set.
It's a vampire hive. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so they go in there and Mark runs out because he's there and he goes, "Get out of here!" He wants to get revenge.
Running, don't stop running.
Yeah, he obviously stays to help. But at the end of the day, they shoot Straker. Takes him a while to go down because he's badass.
He's Rambo.
He dies, and then they open up. They take out the coffin, stab Nosferatu. I was gonna say Barlow. Boom, he's dead. And then they lock the other guys because they're still alive and they're crawling out of the little underground dwelling, whatever they have there. Which is a nice little scene, actually. They're coming out.
Yep.
And they're crawling out toward him. That was a creepy little shot. But they shot it, put it on fire at the end.
Yeah. It is a bit anticlimactic. I think Barlow...
You needed a Barlow moment there.
Yeah, Barlow needed to
Also-
get down with more of a fight.
Also, like in the beginning, we're introduced to Ben and Mark. They're in Guatemala.
Yes.
And they're being hunted
I
by
love those
vampires.
bookended scenes, by the way.
Yes. So we're back in Guatemala. A couple of questions.
Yeah.
Bonnie Bedelia is there, Susan.
Uh-huh.
But wouldn't she have went reverted back?
She's a vampire.
Or no, but when you kill the head vampire, if you weren't killed by the vampire, you just turned, you would go back to your natural human state.
No, but not within this universe, I don't believe. So,
Because they killed Barlow, and then you got the other guys coming out after him. Well, they would have died because you cut the head off the leader.
yeah,
That's
but
it.
I don't think those rules apply in the Salem's Lot universe.
They should have given us something then about that.
Yeah, I think it's different. Slightly, with each different vampire story, there's like different sort of rules. So yeah, I don't think those rules apply within the Salem's Lot universe, because that's why they torched the house. They didn't just torch it because it's an evil house. It was to kill the remaining vampires as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, because we all know that's usually the go-to for vampires is you kill the leader, boom, they're all good.
Or expose them to sunlight or whatever, yeah.
We should have got a one-line fix. I think it would have been cool if they get Barlow first, and then you got Straker in the showdown. Because he's more powerful, so he can throw shit around, and that would have been better. Because we knew him better. We knew he killed Ralph.
Plus, it's James Mason, and
it's James Mason.
He sells the Sinister so well.
You felt you had this character pretty much the face of the bad guys for the whole movie. He should have got more of a showdown, maybe, and then he could have had the one.
Both should have. Both Straker and Barlow deserve better sort of deaths, finales.
Well, but if you kill because if you kill Barlow, okay, let's say they have a big fight with Barlow, right? And they kill him. It'd be nice to see Straker coming down after he got shot. He still survives because he's badass.
Like a final score.
And then he goes
with Straker.
He goes, the rules don't apply in our world.
Yeah.
So he could have, you know what I mean? That would have gave us a little, okay, that's why these other ones are still alive.
Yeah.
But we didn't get that. I thought that was kind of a, I don't know. Obviously we're...
By the way, here is some useless trivia for you. You probably know this already, but I think it was around 1987. There was a sequel to this. So there was.
Yes, it's horrible. Return to Salem's Lot.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid as well. I remember getting it out on video, but I remember it being crap.
It's considered one of the worst sequels ever produced.
Yeah, I would like to revisit it again, just out of pure curiosity.
It's funny you say that. I was thinking, for our fun listening audience, we do it.
Yeah, I'm up for it.
Because if you all know, one of the reasons we're doing this Salem's Lot is because I am a diehard fan of James Wan. I know you're not, jerk. James Wan, the Conjuring franchise, the great Malignant, who you thought was a piece of crap.
I didn't say it was a piece of crap.
I
just
said
it was average. It was average.
It was average. Oh my god. So, anyways, him and Gary Doberman produced and wrote the It movies that we just saw. They're doing Salem's Lot for the big screen. It's got a really good cast. Comes out in August. Don't know the rating yet. I don't know the length. But I hope it's a little long, because it should be. Because Salem's Lot should be longer. But I'm dying. But the only thing I can know from it is that the vampire is going to be like Barlow. They're going to keep it the Nosferatu vampire.
Yeah.
Apparently
Stephen King was also very cool. Was also happy enough with them, making Barlow a Nosferatu type vampire in the 79 version as well.
Yeah, you might as well.
And can I say as well, Salem's Lot was also made just last year, and it was called Midnight Mass.
Yeah. That was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I thought it was great, but you know what? I think this is better. The 79 Salem's Lot.
No. I wouldn't go that far.
On a technical level, Midnight Mass is better.
But Mike Flanagan is untouchable.
On a technical level, it is obviously much superior, but things have changed over the last 40 years in terms of filmmaking. However, for personal nostalgia's sake and for genuinely creepy, still scary scenes right up to this day, 1979 Salem's Lot for me.
All right, that's all right. There's nothing wrong with it. So obviously, we both enjoy it.
I enjoy both. Yeah.
So at the end, when we're back from the beginning with Guatemala, and the holy water starts glowing. Is the holy water letting them know there's a vampire in the area?
Pretty much.
That's stupid.
Yeah, I know that is a bit. And even the effects of it, because it's actually like a freeze frame of like David Soul's hand. And with this shiny bottle of holy water. Yeah, that was a bit daft. They should have dropped that.
So I guess it's a compass. Yeah. So it guides them to Susan, and there she is in this silk nightie.
Yeah, this is hokey. Nah.
This is bad. And then he stabs her. You don't even see her get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
is a bit laughable, this bit, but actually, considering all the greatness that came before, this is a bit of a sort of what the fuck. It's supposed to be like deeply emotional, and you have to feel the pain that Soul's feeling, because he's staking his true love, who's now a vampire. But it's like, just fucking stake the bitch.
Yeah, I know. And the only funny thing is, Mark and Ben, have they even fucking showered?
Yeah, they're fucking stinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, come on. But yeah, it was pretty stupid. I hope they change this ending, or give us a little more something in the new version coming. You know what I was thinking about? You know what? Since we're diving into this is what we should do, and we'll do Return to Salem's Lot that came out in 87, 88, whatever it was, and then we'll do the reboot that came out, which I thought was pretty good. Rob Lowe and Rutger Hauer and Donald Sutherland.
2004 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
You haven't?
Nope. And I'll tell you the reason why. At the time, I was a bit sort of fed up with remakes, and I was just saying the reason I didn't watch it was because I didn't want it to tarnish my memories of the 79 one and the book. So I was just...
Well, the Return of Salem's Lot will do that. I'll tell you that right now. But do you want to do that?
Yeah, sure. Definitely, yeah.
And then we'll do it we'll do Return, then we'll do the reboot next month, and then we'll work our way up to the actual remake coming out.
Cool. Sounds like a plan to me.
There you go. Well, listen, guys, this is just, besides the bad love story, and that's really the only thing that really bothers me. And
it's very 1970s cheese, the love story.
Yeah. If you can just get away from that, and yes, the ending's rushed, but that's Stephen King. It works, guys. This really does play well. I mean, the kids scrapping at the door to get into their buddy's house. Mike sitting in the chair going, look at me, look at me. Yeah. He does it for 5 minutes. He just that's it. It's
it's very intense scene.
Yeah. The Barlow makeup's still cool. He's got that blue. What is he, like a light blue? I don't know what he is. He's kind of
played by Reggie Nalder, who played aliens in Star Trek and stuff. He had that sort of look about him.
Yeah, like tall, slinky, creepy look.
Yeah, but like me, actually.
But it had so many good scenes that I remember, and those scenes hold up, and the characters I enjoyed. Guys, give it a watch. Put it on for 3 hours. It flies by. Honestly, it does.
And read the book, and also read the original short story, Jerusalem's Lot, which is in Night Shift. I think Salem's Lot came first, and then King wrote that short story as a prequel. But yeah, both highly recommended as well.
There you go. Yeah. So there you go. We all like Salem's Lot.
Yep. What's not to love about it?
Well, what talk about the sequel? Shit. All right, we're gonna wrap this one up. We peppered this one in for you guys because we're a little late getting Maverick out, just because Trevor had to go to ChillerCon.
Yeah.
You got the new Phantasmagoria coming out, so it took a little longer for him to get to see Maverick, but we're ready to go. We're recording in the next couple days. We'll get that out for you right away, we promise. Thanks for your patience, and there you go. Like I said, we're just going to give you this one because, we'll give you something to hold you till we get Top Gun. But now we just made Return to Salem's Lot and the 2 remakes.
We'll watch Return to Salem's Lot so you don't have to.
Yeah. Oh, God. I'm actually looking forward to watch that piece of shit again.
Yeah, it's just for curiosity's sake. I want to watch it again.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Continue always to follow us as usual on Facebook and at _podcast. The new issue of Phantasmagoria is out now, available on Amazon all over the world.
Yep.
And locally at Forbidden Planet.
Yep, it is indeed.
That's a wrap. And I know how to end this one. I'm just going to go ahead and say,
look at me.
Look at me. Or good evening.
Yeah.
Isn't that Dracula thing? Good evening.
It sounds like Alfred Hitchcock. When Alfred Hitchcock presents.
Hey, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that. That's right. All right, guys. Have a good night, day, or morning, whatever you got going on, whatever time zone you're in. Have a good one.